Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming, and welcome to another Steam Winter Sale 2017 video. And in this video I'll be looking at some platformers. Now before I begin, there are some games that maybe stretch the definition of platformers and some games that I've already mentioned in other videos, but I still wanted to cover them because they're good games and they're on sale. So yeah, let's begin. First is Teslagrad. This is 90% off, down to only 99 cents. Hand-drawn environments, Metroidvania style. There's a tower and you have to go and investigate it. It's got puzzle elements as well. Looks really nice, and like I said, only 99 cents. Next up is Guns, Gore and Cannoli, another game I've mentioned previously. In this game you play as Vinnie Cannoli, who is a mafioso from the 1930s, and he needs to go and find someone in a different town, and it turns out there is like a zombie outbreak. So basically mix The Godfather with zombies. And this is also playable in co-op with up to 4 people. Next up is Deadlight Director's Cut, and this is a remake of the original game called Deadlight. And the reason why you see mixed reviews here is because the remake did not change much from the original game. There was only some minor improvements, some fixes to the sound, etc. So that is why it's got mixed reviews. The original game has very positive reviews. So pick this up. This is 75% off, down to $2.99. I played a bit of it and I really liked it. So nice looking game. Next up is a game called SHIO, and I did not know too much about it. It looks really nice. It's interesting. It's difficult. If you read the description, it looks like they've just used Google Translate. It looks really interesting. 30% off, down to $8.39. Next is a very recent game. This is Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. I've seen a few videos of this online and it looks really funny. You basically are this man inside this pot and you have to use this hammer to climb this mountain, and this looks difficult and annoyingly difficult. If you see the tags here, somebody's put psychological horror. Don't read too much into it. It's not. It's just somebody being sarcastic. Next, this is Rocketbirds Hardboiled Chicken. This is the 80% off, down to only 99 cents. You play as a commando chicken and you have to take down a penguin regime basically. Very funny and also playable in co-op. There's also a second game and it is I think $4.99 as well, but check out the first one. If you like it, then you might get the second as well. Next is Ib and Ob. This is a 2-player cooperative game with some gravity elements, like 2 different worlds with gravity in both of them. So an interesting puzzle element to it and looks really nice, and it's got very positive reviews. And this is 65% off, down to $4.19. Next up is Contrast. Now this is a puzzle platform game with a mixture of both 2D and 3D gameplay, and this is 66% off, down to $3.39. Next is Cuphead, obviously the standout game of the year. Extremely difficult platformer, 1930s cartoon art style, overwhelmingly positive, 15% off, down to $16.99. This just came out end of September, so it's brand new, and as you can see, it's extremely popular and well worth it. Next is a game called Headlander. Now the unique concept in this game is you are just a floating head and you have to fly around and attach yourself to different bodies, and based on that solve the puzzles, etc. Interesting concept and a fun little game. 60% off, down to $7.99. Next up is Oddworld, new and tasty. This is the remake of the original game, Abe's Odyssey from 1997, and this is another great platformer. Looks really nice and funny as well. Definitely pick this up. This is 75% off, down to $4.99. Next is Never Alone, a nice little platformer where you follow the story of this little girl and her fox through Alaska. It also tells the story of the Inuit people of Alaska through short documentary clips within the game, and this can be played as co-op completely, most of it, and you control the girl and the fox. You can, if you play alone, you can control both the characters yourself, because there are some elements where you need each character to solve puzzles, and if you have a friend, you can both play as the different characters. So nice little game. This is 80% off, down to $2.99. There's also a collection which has another DLC and a music soundtrack. So this is 80% off, down to $3.59. I would say get the collection version or the complete version. Next is Outland, a fast-paced platformer where you have to basically save the world. And this is 85% off, down to 149. A visually nice looking game, and definitely check this out. Next is Strider. Now this is again a remake of the old Strider game from Sega Mega Drive. Now I have a personal bias for this game, and that is because when I was growing up I had a Sega Mega Drive, and this was the first game I had on that console. So it's nice to see a remake of that. This is 70% off, down to 449. Finally, we have Super Meat Boy. If you look up games for being extra difficult, like the hard list of games that are really difficult, this will often pop up. This is 90% off, down to only 149, so definitely grab this. So that was a list of some platformers, mostly 2D. A few of them were 2.5D. I could have filled this list with more games, but I wanted to look for some interesting games that are good and unique. And so I hope you found something interesting in here. I have a couple more requests to make, and hopefully that should wrap up these videos, these series of sales videos, unless there's something else that somebody wants. And yeah, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.